All right, welcome back, guys. Let's go ahead and look up, not Letterboxd. Oops, get the wrong button. Mr. Man Cave. Um, Here's the website question. Here's the story. Now I saw plenty of different other YouTube channels talking about the situation with this autograph. 45-year-old man Brett Lemieux stealing um tons of people's money out because he's made a bunch of fake autographs. Your prize sports memorabilia could be counterfeit. And then I was checking on it to see what the heck, what did they do? Because you know what, I saw all these YouTube videos, and not one of them is explaining how it even went. They didn't even go to this website right here. Anyway, that kind of just is aggravating when people are just saying the same exact thing over and over again, and nobody's going to the actual spot. So it's all high end material. It's not, it doesn't affect mostly sports cards or your of course, not the TTMers like myself, who we send off a card to get a Bobby Chance autograph. The Bobby Chance autograph looks exactly the same as it would in person because nobody out here doing the Bobby Chance autographs. They're doing the Larry Bird and the Tom Brady and the Joe Montana and the Michael Jordan. So it's all high end stuff. So basically, how they went about doing it. This is the website right here that's purportedly selling all kinds of fakes. Is What's that Archie Manning one? That was a good example, wasn't it? Let me see if they got the Manning in here. Look at me looking up. You can see I was looking up sports cards over there on my side. Where's that Manning at? So you can see his football helmets and other stuff. This is similar to Operation Bullpen and some other operations that went down in the past. This is very similar to those operations. Okay, so what is going on with this? They've got fanatics, they've got, see, they got the fanatics, etc. So basically, the way that this scam or scheme goes with this company, Mr. Man Cave, and other operators that are going to do this is auto pin. They can take a pink pin marker and they can set it up in the auto pin to go exactly where they want it. In the past, the other fakers would try to copy the signature, but most of the time the fakers would signature didn't look anything like the actual one. This looks like an actual Peyton Manning. And there's this hologram verification. So what they've done is they've taken they get a hold of a real version of the Fanatics authentic hologram verification certificate, right? Then they get a hold of a printer and they just have them print this again and again. Okay, so that's how they're tricking people. Number two, you say, well, what else did they get? They got this thing right here, the Fanatics. If you bought the QR code and all that, well, they can send. So basically, what they were doing is they were having a printer, maybe in China or one of those other spots, print these holograms out for them, and it'll be the if they look it up, it'll be identical looking to this item, but what they've had the AutoPin do is make an identical copy of this helmet over and over again. So they purchased the helmet, they purchased the jersey, whatever it may be. They've already reprinted this, and then they just reprint that same hologram over and over and over again. They have like 1,000 of them. So that's how this little Mr. Man Cave hustle is working. How it was in operation. There's the website. It's all very high end stuff, as you can see. None of it's just a regular player. All of it's the big name stuff, so they can get the biggest amount of money. It's all Hank Aaron, Mickey Mantle, um, Archie Manning, Peyton Manning, Eli Manning. It's all big name stuff. So there they have a actually in this one they have a picture showing the Mannings signing this for real. And so what they do is they get a hold of a real item, like that maybe they even purchased one of these real items, and then they just duplicate it. They get a duplication of this real item, and then they have the auto pin. They stick this under the device, and it will copy that signature to look just like it did. Then they take the certificate, but really they have a dozen of these, and they have a dozen of this certificate and a dozen of the holograms. They're just getting the certificate and the holograms reprinted at different spots, and then they're selling it on the Mr. Man Cave site and other sites. So, how can collectors avoid getting into this mess? Well, whenever you're dealing with all this high end stuff, Michael Jordan and Manning and all these other big name stars, Tom Brady and Patrick Mahomes, you need to be extra careful with it because there's an entire operation usually of people making these fake items. And they can duplicate the holograms, they can duplicate the certificate of authenticity. You'll have to look on yours and see, does it look identical to what's in the system registry? And then that makes it harder when they place this auto pin to make it look exactly. So they're like vectoring it in to make sure that they stick where the autograph is going to be um, when they did the detail. But that's how they were getting away with it. So it's going to be tough for a lot of people to figure out their stuff was real or fake when they're getting a hold of the certificate of authenticity. You can see this JSA, right? So what they're going to do? They're going to, Ronald Acuna really signs a ball, and there's a real picture of him signing a ball. But what's going on over here with these certificates of authenticity? That they can get this, they can get one real copy of this and one real copy of that. Switch out the switch out one of the parts, or have a company in China or one of these other printing operations reprint these certificates of authenticity. And then it looks like you got the real thing, but you don't have the real thing. So now going forward, everyone's going to have to check on their stuff a little bit more thoroughly. As far as the sports cards are concerned, I saw where they were selling sports cards. It was mentioned over there, but it's all, again, it's just Michael Jordan, Larry Bird, it's Wayne Gretzky. It's stuff that's so high end material um, that you would already need to check it out a little bit ahead of time. You'd already have to scrutinize it, and then they're saying that they did it by using auto pins and then having people overseas vectorize the signature using Inkscape to auto pin it. The ringleader, Lemieux, named a few individuals that were in on his scheme, and then he took himself out, or somebody else took him out. We'll never probably find out. There's no Columbos running around the real world. Sold over 500,000 counterfeit Panini items. Kobe died. We put out 80,000 items. So again, it's all the high end stuff. It's the very high end stuff. So already looking at it, you need to be aware that if you were just getting yourself jerseys and things like this, Mr. Man Cave have, because that's mostly what his thing was, picture frame jerseys. Now there's some sports cards that were listed, but they were all stuff that would just raise questions off the bat. There were Michael Jordan autographs and Larry Bird autographs, and stuff that if you sent it to PSA and other groups and they look at it under the microscope, they should be able to tell that that's an auto pin. That's not an authentic. That's not the person signing it. Where there's variations in the signature, that's one from one copies and duplicates. But this is how the operation went down. That's what I hope that it helps explain it a little bit better. That they get a hold of a real item or a real authenticity cert, just duplicate it over and over again. Go and purchase a basketball, a hockey puck, a jersey, etc., baseball. Sign the high-end name to it, the biggest names possible for the biggest amount of money. Again, they're not selling Ron Gantz over here, right? They're selling Barry Bonds. They're selling, Roger Clemens, that kind of stuff. There's whatever it's going to sell. The big name superstar stuff that should already, in your mind as a collector, you should already be thinking, I don't know. Sounds, I got to look into this a little deeper. And these are just printed off. And if you were able to compare them, you should probably be able to see some comparisons for it to say, okay, this doesn't look like it's the real deal. It looks like maybe it was auto pinned. It does resemble their signature, of course. Very good job on their scamming of the autograph. Not a good job on doing scamming though. That's horrible, and it's something that we should be aware of when we're looking into it. As far as the TTM community goes and our sports cards getting autographed through the mail, That's the space that I'm in, and several of the different sports card enthusiasts that are in the TTM community have said it again and again. It's like 90% of our stuff is authentic stuff. You get a Ted Power autograph, a Jose Lind autograph, Tom Kelly, Al Red Worthington, Ron Gant, just to name a couple different names. You just go down the list. That's their autograph. They're not people that anybody like these high end schemers and scammers are going to be trying to work on doing something nefarious about. Today's deal has been, this is the only part of this website that's gotten shut down, is this today's deal. The other parts are still up. They took down the movie star autograph. So okay, so this was up earlier, now it's down. So they're bit by bit they're taking this website down, it looks like. But still, this website that's purportedly a fake, all fake autographs, is still up and running. Let's see. And the stuff looks authentic because it's got this authenticity thing, but those, again, they can be printed, put out there, and these are supposed to be auto pin. It'll look exactly the same every single time. I think under, so if as authentication goes, if you were to take the Jerry Rice and other stuff and look deep under the microscope, you'll see that the little dots, the little points and stuff like that will be in the same little positions, and you'll know, oh, this is just the auto pin. This was just put under, the computer did this using that pin system. And then when it comes to the hologram, if you were to go and check on the hologram and you see it look identical to it, but you see two other jerseys of the same kind and they also look identical to it, you'll know that, oh, okay, so they made multiples of this. I hope that it explains a little bit of it and how they're running these schemes and scams. And again, these are not the only people doing this kind of scams either. These are the type of scams that have been going on for years. Memorabilia, every time you see those photographs that are signed, anytime you see these jerseys, the baseballs, the bats, you got to question it. It's easier, I think, for me anyway, I think it's easier to tell on a sports card because it has a smaller space and you're looking to see where you're at on it, for the signature. If that one looks like it matches what the signer should have or not have, and there's all these going to be lots of variations in it, right? They sometimes the player doesn't sign in the same spot every time. Sometimes they add the little inscriptions all over it, and it's very much all in their writing. And that's the kind of thing that, I'm big on that. I don't pick up the jerseys like they've got here, but this is where these companies get organized to run and operate, where they have an entire teams helping them usually scheme and scam people out with their stuff, and then they reproduce the holograms. They can make an identical hologram, but if you go back through and look at it, it all looks legit from novices' points of view, right? If you weren't very familiar with it, you'd say, "Oh, that's going to be the real deal." But I hope that this has been a little bit educational for you guys to see what are they doing. High end stuff says that they were flooding the market. Pretty sick, nasty stuff. But I just didn't see anybody else talking about it in a little bit more in depth. So I thought maybe I'll just drop this little video. Y'all have a wonderful day. Be safe. Always take care. I'll talk to you later today when I drop another Through the Mail autograph video. Peace.